One middle-aged guy tried to work one thing out. One middle-aged guy tried to work one thing out. Hey, dear listeners, thank you for joining me, Dave, for a special short episode, a mini of two middle-aged guys trying to work it all out, featuring, well, just me, Dave. I know what you're thinking, Dave. We've got a few of these here recently. Dave, what's going on with you and Chris? Well, just our schedules couldn't sync up, and we weren't able to go see Fantastic Four yet for our big summer of comic book movies, but we will be getting to that soon. You can look forward to hearing more about Fantastic Four and our thoughts on that shortly. Right now, I'm going to be talking about a different topic. Chris wasn't able to go see the movie that we're going to be talking about today, which is Naked Gun. Our schedules, like I said, did not sync. Chris is a very busy man. He does a lot of volunteer work, a lot of charity work right now. He is serving overseas with Doctors Without Borders. He is pretending to be a doctor, so I have some mixed feelings about that, but I still think like he's doing some good on the whole. I hope. Anyway, what I want to talk to you all about is The Naked Gun. And now, I know my first thought when I saw this was, oh, that's an odd X-rated life story biopic of James Gunn. It seems kind of early in his life to do this, but sure, I'll guess I'll give it a chance. But thankfully, that's not what it was. It has nothing to do with James Gunn. It's actually a remake of course, I knew that was a joke. It's a remake of the classic Leslie Nielsen, Zucker, Abrams, Zucker, or Zaz series of parody films, parodying crime movies and whatever else is going on at the culture at the time. Films that were popularized in the late 80s and early 90s with the hilarious and great Leslie Nielsen, reprising this series of films in a remake, now starring Liam Neeson as the lead character. Now, when I first heard about this, what I heard was two things. They're remaking Naked Gun, and I thought, well, okay, these things happen, it goes in a cycle, most remakes are bad, it's unfortunate. Then I heard Liam Neeson, the next sentence. I had a long pause between sentences, and I thought, oh, well, that could work. And then, about a year went by before I heard anything more about the film, and then the trailer came out, or the teaser. I watched the teaser, and I wasn't super duper excited for it. It seemed to lean a little bit heavy on the Liam Neeson as an action star, flipping around, kicking, punching, dodging bullets, what have you, stabbing folks in throats with lollipops. I don't know. It just didn't, that teaser didn't grab me. And then I heard that Seth MacFarlane was involved as a producer. And I was like, oh no, that's not great. And then I read that Akiva Schaffer was the director and one of the writers. And Akiva Schaffer was part of the creative team that brought us Never Stop, Never Stopping, which was a very funny sort of parody film of pop stars that was made, I think, about 12 years ago or so. Very funny stuff. So I thought, okay, yeah. And then I heard that one of the original fellas, one of the, I believe it was David Zucker, was not particularly pleased with the direction the film had gone. They did not use his script or script ideas, and he was not happy with the casting of Liam Neeson. So I was a mess about this film, not knowing whether or not I was going to enjoy it. But as more trailers came out and we got closer to it, I thought, well, I definitely want to give it a chance. So we went and saw it this weekend on opening weekend, and wanted to, very briefly, of course, spoiler-free, just share my thoughts on this new comedy. And from someone who loved the originals, which is me, if you're in that boat, wondering, will you like this film? And the answer is, I think you're going to really like this film. I think this film does the originals proud. It's an interesting occurrence for a comedy, a short, tight, 90 minutes or so comedy. It's in an interesting position. It's getting great critical reviews. At the point that I'm recording this, it's in the upper 80s on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. And it is certified fresh. And the audience score is in the upper 70s. Interesting for comedies. It's usually not the way it works. It's usually flipped. Lower critic score, higher audience score. But, whatever, that's fine. I can tell you, this does the genre of spoof parody movies proud. It does the pedigree of the Zaz, the Zucker, Abram, Zucker type films, starting with Airplane, going into Police Squad, Scary Movie, Top Secret, all those silly ones. It does those very proud. And it does Leslie Nielsen and his brilliant comedic but deadpan straight man performance as Frank Drebin proud, with the great lead that is Liam Neeson, who is not doing a Frank Drebin impression. He is doing Liam Neeson in a police spoof film, who happens to be the son. He's Frank Drebin Jr. That's in the trailers. I'm not spoiling anything. But he's not playing Frank Drebin. He's playing his own take on the character, but it is fantastic. It is hilarious. The laughs per minute on this, I'm sure someone has tracked this, they're extremely dense. I don't recall a movie in the theaters in decades that has made me laugh so much per minute as The Naked Gun did. I mean, I think you have to go back, honestly, to like Austin Powers 2 to find something that had so many laughs per minute. And even though I think a movie like Anchorman or Anchorman 2 is funnier than Austin Powers 2, it was much longer and it stretched those laughs out. The density of laughs in this new Naked Gun film is impressive, but also the deepness of the laughs and how genuine they are. And they're not just sort of snickers or little air through the nose type giggles or laughs. They're just genuine from the belly. This is really hilarious type laughs. So you get that, which I always experience with, like, say, Anchorman and Anchorman 2. I think it brought those kind of laughs. So I would say, you get high density, deep laughs, great comedy. It stays inside the general formula of the spoof and parody genre, but it does so in a modern way. It doesn't like reinvent it, but it's also not just a rehash or a retread. It's got some, and I've used this word a few times here recently, maybe it was on a word of the day calendar and I picked up on it, I don't know, but it's got some ambition. It tries some things that are staying in its lane of this type of comedy, but they're just really funny and great, and they're just a little bit unexpected and go a little bit further than one might think. And I'm not just talking about being dirty, although there is certainly, it earns its R rating, and there's certainly, I think, is one part, just like there was in the original Naked Gun and its sequels, there was one part that was particularly dirty, I will say, but for the most part, it's no dirtier than any other R-rated comedy, and most of the true, genuine laughs just come from the silly stuff, the great sight gags, the jokes that are dropped in, and they're blink if you miss them, and they're all over the place. So I would say this, if you like those style of films, if you sort of pine for the days of an Airplane style movie, but you want maybe more contemporary references, maybe something a little bit newer and fresh, but still with a classic spoof film vibe, this movie is the one that's bringing it. It's bringing it like nothing else I've seen. I think that the closest modern comparisons would be Scary Movies 3 and 4, which I think are very funny films. 1 and 2 are okay. 5 is an abomination, but 3 and 4 are pretty good. I believe Zucker and Abrams had their hands in those third and fourth films. So you can, it's similar in tone to those. It's just much funnier, and the density is like those laughs is great. I have read that Zucker has heard about how great it is, and he has congratulated the team. He said that it's not the direction he would have went. He doesn't plan on seeing it, which I'm not really sure how you could know something wasn't the direction you would have went if you haven't seen it. But I think he's trying to be a good sport about it. Maybe walk back some of his sour grapes type comments about his own script not being used. But I got to be honest, for his own script to be better than what was filmed, it would have to be, an absolute masterpiece of comedy. And maybe it is and maybe it isn't. I don't know. And really, probably the only one that could tell us that is Zucker. And he'd have to actually watch the film. And I would encourage him, if you're listening, David Zucker, check this movie out. And dear listener, you are listening. You should go see this. If you like those types of films, if you want a truly funny, dense, not bringing a deeper meaning or deeper message, just good old sort of Looney Tunes type humor in live action with human beings without the stank of Seth MacFarlane. Sorry, Family Guy and American Dad fans. It's not a not a real fond of Mr. McFarlane or his work, but this doesn't feel anything like that. It feels very classic yet contemporary. And I would encourage you, go check this absolutely hilarious film out. And I think, maybe the success of this, its critical success, what I assume will translate into financial success, will hopefully lead to other really funny comedies of this sort, and hopefully soon, because we could use more of that. So, what's the conclusion? Thumbs up, absolutely. Theater paying theater money for it, and full price tickets, and the convenience fee, which gets tacked on to every ticket, even though it's just as convenient for the theater to do it electronically as it is for you. I should get started on that. Yes, it's worth that extra $2. It's worth the theater money. Obviously you can wait till streaming, but I say have fun in the theater listening to everyone else laugh, because it was certainly a great experience for us. Thank you for taking a minute to listen to this short episode. I appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day. Chris and I will be back soon, unless he gets some, hard prison time for impersonating a doctor overseas. I really hope that doesn't happen. But hopefully we'll be soon back on your podcast playlist and talking about, a certain movie with 4 people who are maybe fantastic, or maybe they're not. Thanks a lot.
Hello, listeners. This is Chris. Even though this was Dave's episode and I'm quite busy performing surgery, I have to chime in to let you know that Dave made an error. He identifies The Naked Gun as being an R-rated film when in fact it received an MPAA PG-13 rating. We are sticklers for accuracy here at TwoMiddleAgedGuys.com, and I could not let that go without the proper correction. So, enjoy. Dave asked me to point out that it was a hard PG-13, which I don't think is an official rating, but I do what I'm told. See you next time.